Hey guys.
Hey.
We're running late.
Yes, we apologize. We had half our team stuck in snow.
And
Not even joking. Yeah, it was crazy.
Good time. So I don't know. So Bailey and I did make it back. So spoiler alert.
No, I time traveled.
So we just made it back this afternoon. About 2 hours ago. So we booted her here. We wanted to try and get here so we can do the live Epic Hour in person. So we made it, which is amazing. And then we now know what everybody has been talking about with the snow in Saskatoon. My goodness, there are snowbanks everywhere. I parked the vehicle and I proceeded to get it stuck. I was like, this is a later problem. I got to go film the Epic Hour. So yeah, so we'll be, hopefully somebody will push me out when we leave. Yeah, awesome. So I think we're gonna have to take turns pushing each other out, actually. So, yeah, but we are happy you guys are joining us. Thank you. Sorry, we're running a few minutes late, but yeah. Well, do you have any words to say?
With the snow.
No. It's a crazy time right now.
It is actually. No, I'm super proud of our team because at the 400 and I think 69 houses or 68, 470 houses. I was talking to my assistant, she's over here. The thing, I think for shoveling every single property out, I think we're down to the last 30 out of that many houses. So yeah, considering we got the snow we got, that's pretty freaking awesome. We'll tighten it up more, but yeah.
Well, it was like 2 feet, right?
Oh, we had more than 2 feet.
More than 2 feet?
Yeah.
Like
and that's not including the wind blowing it. So, yeah.
I had investors messaging when we were in Ontario, and people are like, hey, sorry about the snow. I was like, yeah, I'll pass it on to the team, but I'm good. So, meanwhile, it's like plus 20 in Ontario. They were like, what's happening here? It was just wild, like this whole, global warming thing, and I don't know, seasons shifting crazy. But everybody across Canada knew about the snowstorm in Saskatoon. So, yeah, but that's why we have the teams, right? So, again, for those of you who are active investors and you're doing all the things, that's awesome. No big deal. But for our hassle-free landlord owners, we got you, right? Our fund to flip investors, we got you. So with our team, that's the amazing stuff that is able to happen. And that's
absolutely
magic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Couldn't do it without the teams.
Definitely not. Yeah. So today's topic, we're actually going to be talking about real estate wholesaling.
Yep.
So if you guys want to put stuff in the comments, again, if you're watching on Instagram or on Facebook, we would love for you to have put your comments in the chats, and we've got our team here who will just relay the questions. We'd love for it to be more interactive. Of course, we always tell you guys that. So let us know what you guys are thinking. And yeah, maybe you wholesale full time, or maybe you've wholesaled properties before. Feel free to put that in the comments, being like, "Yeah, I know what's going on." And yeah, we're always looking for more properties in Saskatoon and the Battlefords. Right now, we're able to open up the Battlefords because we do have a wholesaler who works there full time, and he's done really well. We've done really well, and it's all about win-win situations.
And actually, if you look at our Epic Hour of opening the Battlefords, he's on there, and you can actually hear his story, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so true. And yeah, pretty cool. So sometimes when people talk about wholesaling, they don't know really what that means when it comes to real estate. So sometimes people confuse the idea of wholesale with buying wholesale products, which is exactly what real estate wholesaling is. So do you want to talk about the difference there?
Sure. One is a house, and one is everything that goes in a house. We're talking about the real estate one, which is the house, and not all the things that go in the house. That's the difference.
Yeah.
In layman's.
And basically, the idea of wholesaling a property is where you would go and negotiate on a property, and then you would basically lock it up under contract, and then you wholesale that contract for a fee. So you don't actually ever have to purchase the property. You don't ever, as a wholesaler, have to own the property. You just have to be really good at making connections, finding deals, and negotiating, and then finding the buyer for your deal. So some people,
No, I was just going to say, if you have the gift of gab and ability to do numbers and look at houses, you can wholesale.
Exactly. So it does take a lot of time, effort, and energy. And of course, the first one's always the hardest. Once you've done one, you get a little bit more confident. Hey, what worked, what didn't, pivot and adapt, which is what we love to say all the time. And at the end of the day, it really is just making sure you hit the numbers. You might have to put out 100 offers. You might need to go look at how many properties before anything actually comes to fruition. And at the end of the day, it's your network. Because if you go and find a juicy opportunity, but you have nobody to sell it to, the opportunity could be juicy.
It don't matter.
But if you don't have a buyer, then there's nothing you can do. No. So it's really a well-oiled machine when people are wanting to do wholesaling, and you've got to have the buyers, but you've got to have the sellers as well. And then it's really just knowing what either are looking for and making the matches happen. And so some people will say that wholesaling is actually illegal.
It depends. It's not in most places.
Yeah. We're just going to talk about Saskatchewan because that's where we are. But
check your local laws for the actual gray areas and what is acceptable and what isn't, because it does change from province to province, country to country, state to state.
And sometimes it's just a matter of tweaking the wording. So you might not be able to say wholesaling. It's just the gray areas. So
that's right.
Make sure you do your due diligence, but the theories are still the same. So at the end of the day, when you put a property under contract and you go and sell it for a fee, some people will say, well, some people ask us all the time, how much did your wholesaler make? You know what? I don't really care.
Yeah. How
much did we make, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if there's margins for us and we know what our profits are going to be and we're making money, then at the end of the day, they charge what they figured was fair. And, if they put their wholesale fees so high that it doesn't make financial sense, we're just going to walk away from the deal.
Exactly.
So that's where it comes down to win-win agreements, right? And so at the end of the day, people need to know what the property's worth, what people are willing to pay, and how much, it makes sense for them to be recouping their time. But there's a lot of people in Ontario, Bailey and I just got back from there. There's people that are literally wholesaling now, not even really actively investing in real estate, because when you actively invest in real estate, it takes capital. It takes the resources to be able to do all the things if you're going to be flipping. If you're going to be property managing, you need to make sure you have all the teams in place or you're going to do it yourself, right? So it's just a lot more work. Whereas if you're wholesaling, you're just going out, finding the deals, negotiating on the contracts, and then selling them to another person for a fee. You don't actually ever own it. Like we said, you don't actually have to come up with the money. Generally, you can lock it up with a deposit. It's just a very transactional process. And then basically you sell the contract for a fee to the end buyer. And so this is, for us, we love buying from wholesalers because they did all the work on the offset. We just need to purchase the property and then we do our renos and whatever needs to be done. So it's great.
So Angie, how does this differ from being a real estate agent? Well, Rochelle literally just hit the nail on the head there with that last sentence. The big difference is a real estate agent is going in and representing a client and moving the actual house and actually representing that client. A wholesaler is going in, they're locking down the property and then selling the actual contract. That's the difference. I know it sounds like fine lines, but it is. But that is actually what you're doing. When someone approaches us saying they're wholesaling a property, they are selling us the contract, and then we're going to go and put our name on the contract. That's what we're doing. So that is the big difference.
Yeah, whereas a real estate agent is selling the actual property.
Yeah.
And it's a minute detail, but that's where the difference is.
Yeah.
And some people will say that wholesaling is illegal because you are in fact basically acting as an agent without a license. But it's that little distinct difference is that you are not actually selling the property. You are selling the contract on the property.
The rights to the contract is actually the exact verbiage of what you're doing.
Yeah. So again, is it right? Is it wrong?
And again, we work with realtors as much as we work with wholesalers.
100%.
There is no one or the other. It just comes down to the dollars and cents, people. So getting in that scarcity mindset, well, it's wrong, it's this, it's that. That's a scarcity mindset. There are literally, I don't care who you are for a realtor, there is not enough of you to sell every single house that's in any general area or boundary for wherever you're representing. There is no way that you can take them all on. So
it's the same way where I say, even if we had all the money in the world, there's no way we could possibly do every single transaction out there.
No.
Right? So again, switch your mindset from a fixed, small-minded mind, I guess, and then turn on your growth mindset and make sure that you get from the scarcity to the abundance. There's so many deals to be had.
Yeah, absolutely. Angie, again, so who owns the property?
The owner.
The owner.
You could own the property.
Yeah.
You could own the property and you could want to sell it, but you don't want to deal with an agent because you don't want to pay a commission, or maybe you're a distressed owner and there's not a lot of profit in the deal. So it doesn't make sense for you to turn around and just go and sell it with an agent because you're going to have to take a loss. So all of a sudden, if somebody could maybe, I don't know, there's so many creative ways. Like it's just, this is what we do. So it's really frustrating when people are like, you can't do that. I'm like, we just did that last week. But essentially there's some people who are taking distressed properties that are owned by distressed owners and basically selling them to rent to own tenants. And so then they're doing these creative contracts where basically it's just, there's so many different creative ways. I'm like, it could go like this and this and this, or it could go like this and this and this. But at the end of the day, the owner owns the property and they're going to sell it to the end user. Our connection is unstable. So if you guys can't hear us, just let us know.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't be freezing up.
They should be able to see. So.
Okay. And so at the end of the day, the owner is the owner, the buyer is the end user buyer, and the wholesaler is a person who creates that, I guess, transaction in the middle. They're just the ones putting two and two together. And then they take their fee from the buyer, not the owner. So it doesn't cost anything to sell to a wholesaler, right? So it's just creating win-win opportunities.
Yeah. And that's ultimately, it's all about the win-win. So again, people know realtors exist. So if they want to sell their property that way, there's nothing stopping them, right? This is just another way of creatively moving a product. That's all.
And we've had realtors who approach us, and they're a realtor, so they can't wholesale a property, but they bring us pocket listings. Some of these listings don't even make it to market because
just bought one today.
Yeah, because they know we buy with cash. They know they're not going to be dicked around on like placing a property that needs renovating on the market, and so they come to us directly and they're like, "Hey, this is what my buyer wants. They're kind of embarrassed about the property or whatever the case may be. They don't want a lot of people coming through it. Would you come look at it? Let me know what you buy it for." Win-win situations. Yeah. Well, some people might say that's not fair. You should have listed it. Well, who's to say what's fair and what's not? It comes down to the seller and whatever contracts that people put together. And so if the realtor can do a pocket listing, so it still goes through MLS, it's still legit, they still have to pay their brokerage fees and everything, that's up to them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
It's good to be top of mind.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it comes down to. And that's, again, goes back to that networking and putting yourself in that position where everybody thinks about you and everybody knows who you are, so that you are top of mind and they call. It honestly, it's a huge thing. And I mean, Jenn, do you remember the count of how many realtors that I'm actively working with? Is
currently have
10 right there. And then I have, 3, 4 wholesalers I'm working with. So right there, I'm still working with more realtors than I am wholesalers. I just work with both. I'm happy to work with both.
We work with private sales too.
Yep. All the time.
People call us.
Homeowners
like,
call us and go, "Will you buy my house?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I got another one of those with December 2nd or 7th. Yeah.
And
homeowner contacted us.
And that's the thing. And sometimes it's a person who knows a person. They're like, "Hey, you know what? My friend's talking about selling their property. I told him you guys buy a lot of houses and you could possibly pay cash. If you're interested, can you go look at it?" We're like, "For sure. We'll go look at it. If it makes sense, we pay that person $1,000 finder's fee." Again, back to our referral program. We pay for all leads, whether it be houses or investors.
Absolutely.
And that's all the win-win, guys. Like
exactly.
Abundance thinking.
So again, that scarcity mindset is going to be anyone's downfall. It doesn't matter what you do for a living or what industry you're in. If you're so busy concentrating on the gimme and the what is everybody else doing, you lose momentum on what you should be focusing on and pushing through and making yourself better. That's just a lose. But so wholesaling. Actually, at some point, we're going to bring in Jenn, who actually is my assistant and who has actually wholesaled some properties to E.P.I.C. So we'll actually hear it from, for lack of better saying, the horse's mouth.
She's not calling you a horse.
No. So we'll just cover off our questions, and I think we'll bring Jenn in and hear about her experience with doing it with E.P.I.C.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Should I get a mentor? Absolutely. And this should be a variety of categories. You, number one, need to talk to an actual real estate, not just a lawyer, a real estate lawyer that actually understands real estate law. Because there are a lot of them out there that think they know what they're talking about and they don't. We've run into it. How many lawyers do you have to train for mortgage documentation? There you go. For RSP, arm's length mortgages. There you go.
Yeah.
We had to train, Rochelle had to train 3 lawyers because they didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
So, and then I would definitely surround myself with somebody who understands the real estate industry then as well. So those would be the 2 areas that I would definitely mentor under, because again, you're not going to know. And it's going to come down to many mentors as well, because what a builder wants out of a property is not what we want out of a property, right? So you're going to need kind of that person that's going to explain each real estate industry so that you can gather that network and have kind of that go-to, to ask questions and all the things if you're going to wholesale a product.
Well, and at the end of the day, you can wholesale anything. You can wholesale a car.
Yep. People do it.
You can wholesale a horse.
Yep.
You could wholesale
jet fuel.
Yeah. Like anything that you could put under contract that you can bring a buyer and a seller together and get paid a fee for selling that contract in the middle. You can wholesale anything, guys.
Yeah.
So quit, being like, oh, you can't do that. That's a limiting belief, guys.
Okay.
Stop with the limiting beliefs.
Go follow Gary Vee. That's exactly what his followers are doing. They're going to garage sales. They're going to things. They buy things off the internet.
That's different because they're actually buying it, right? We're talking about
I guess. Yeah, that's true. You're just being the middleman.
Yeah.
But
they're flipping.
They're flipping. Yeah.
Yeah. But
not all of them. Some of them may be just taking control and turning around and selling it. I'm sure that's happening with his clientele.
Totally. But it's just wrapping your brain around a different way of thinking. So again, figure out what people are looking for and then go find it.
Yep.
The people who do really well with wholesaling, they create their buyers first.
Yep.
Go find your qualified buyers, find out what they're looking for, and then you go find the products they're looking for, and boom, you're done. Some people look for multifamily dwellings. Go out and find, if you can find buyers who are like, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for 8 to 25 unit buildings in this area. This is what the cash flow has to be, blah, 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 blah. Then go find those people, make sure they're qualified buyers that can actually close, and then go do it. That's it. What do you got?
Alan, can I wholesale an unwanted prime minister?
There has
absolutely.
To be, but this is the problem though. There has to be value in the product, and assume that somebody will actually pay you for it, right? So that's the only hiccup there.
I like your thinking.
But
So you pretty much answered the next question. How do I find motivated sellers, and what about buyers? Again, people, I don't know. We hear people all the time. Well, how do I find the people? I'm like, you talk to the people.
Have a conversation.
You will recommend a book called Money, People, Deal. Okay, that's literally about networking and putting the 3 things together. Wholesaling falls into that category. What are you doing? Putting money, people, and a deal together. That's literally, you have the person that wants to buy the product. There's your money. You have the deal, and then you need to go ask the people and find the buyer. Like or the sellers with the product.
Didn't they rename that book? That's late Stefan Arnio's book.
Yeah.
I think they have it the $5 million book or something like that now.
I can't remember.
But anyway, it was originally Money, People, Deal.
Yeah.
But it's great, and it talks about how to raise the thing. If it's raising the product to be able to sell it, make money, or if it's raising the capital to be able to go find and buy the product.
But like, being a wholesaler is not the kind of career you can do from your couch. You need to talk to people. You need to talk to real people.
And technically you can do it from your couch.
Well, you can get on Facebook and all the things.
But you can.
Yeah.
It's because I don't want to shortchange that, because especially with today's way of being with this whole COVID world and stuff, a lot of people are doing it from their couches. Again, it's networking and it's going out there and creating relationships. I just got a message from somebody on Facebook being like, hey, I saw that you were in this meetup group. I'm just curious of what kind of properties you're looking for. Right? So again, if you go and
why did they ask that question?
I don't know, maybe because I'm a real estate investor, that's all I talk about online, right? So again, farm your network and figure out what makes the most sense. And so for me, it was in the States. So I said like, oh, well, I'm not looking in that market, but here's the markets I'm looking in. She's like, oh, that's amazing. We're in 2 of those markets. I'll put you on the email list. I'm like, that's great, right? So again, it's all about creating the network. And that's it. Talk to people, and whether it's online or in person.
So do I need a real estate license to wholesale in Saskatchewan? No. So yeah, I can't go beyond that. How can I get to know my local real estate market better? Okay, well, number one, drive the neighborhoods. Even still with everything going on, you can still get in your vehicle and you can drive the neighborhoods, and you can still walk outside and walk the neighborhoods, okay? That's number one. Look and see what there is for housing in the neighborhoods, right? So if you talk to somebody and they're like, I'll use Saskatoon because I'm familiar, and I get this question all the time from people. What neighborhoods do you typically like to buy in? I can list the top 10 neighborhoods we buy in.
But that's us.
Yes.
That's not the average investor in Saskatoon.
Most of them will have like 1 or 2 neighborhoods they buy in, or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, but because some people are buying for infill.
Yeah.
Right. We're buying for distressed properties that we can turn into cash flow rentals. Like, you've got to figure out your niche.
Exactly. And then another way, how do you get to know your real estate? Just literally, you can go on MLS. You can look at houses for sale, and then ones will pop up. I don't know if they pop up in the public for sold. I don't think so.
Not what the price is.
No, no, but they'll still say it's sold,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so you can start looking at what's moving, what's not, what is sitting, what's popular, what are homeowners buying? Is it 3-bed, 2 baths in Mayfair, or is it, like you have to become a stat-aholic. That is really what you have to do. You have to literally sit down and you have to and then go to open houses. Actually look at the products.
Again, times have changed a little bit.
Yeah. No, there's still open houses. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to book into them and stuff. I'm not sure.
Yeah, whatever. But I'm saying if you can get to them or they happen, do them. But, and then sometimes you can get, there are realtors that even know wholesalers, and they work with them because the realtor's still going to move a product and get paid, and the wholesalers, it's so cool once you start having that network. The things you can do, it's crazy, right? So bringing buyers and everything, it just comes down to becoming a stat-aholic, understanding what are the numbers and what are the things that each individual is looking for, and then figuring out where that product is and finding it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. Real estate. Do I need to work with a real estate agent? Well,
it could be a great resource.
Yeah.
If you're able to find an open-minded agent who can get you access to MLS, or maybe help you find comps. You can actually, with an agent, they can find out what a property sold for, how much it sold for, how long it was on the market. They have all the back end data that the average person can't get. So if you can create some sort of win-win opportunity or partnership, then great. And for us, when we were first starting, part of that partnership, there's some people that will never list with an agent because they're like, I'm not paying a commission and whatever, that's their own thing. But at the end of the day, we have actually gone through properties who people were private sellers that wanted to sell their property, and we actually suggested that they list that property with an agent because it just didn't need a lot of work. They wanted a price that was higher than we were willing to pay, and we said, hey, you know what? This doesn't make financial sense for us, but I think in this market, it's going to sell. So even if you factor in an agent's commission, you're probably going to sell it in a day. And we have literally lined people up. They have listed and they sold within the week. Yeah. Right. So it goes both ways. It's all about creating those alliances. And if people are like, no, I hate realtors. Well, again, you might be like leaving money on the table, or you might be missing out on an opportunity. So again, for us, it all goes to what makes the most sense in that specific situation.
And that's where it comes down to educating the people, right? Because like Rochelle said, we have that conversation and we explain to them, we're going to introduce you to a realtor that we have a good relationship with.
They have integrity.
They have integrity. We know they're going to come in and do a good job for you. I know it's like every industry, there are great ones, there are good ones, there are fair ones, and then there are ones that just should be run over with a car, right? So, and that doesn't matter.
We're not condoning that.
Yeah, well, there are doctors, there are lawyers. It doesn't matter what group you're looking at for professions. It's always like that, okay? So we just know that any of the ones that we recommend, we know they're going to come in and and represent to the best of their ability. And that's why we can go in and do that. So yeah, again, and then people will usually listen to us and they will call that agent.
Yep.
So is real estate wholesaling risky?
It is less risky than trying to buy a property, putting a property under contract to buy it yourself, and then not being able to get financing and not being able to close on it. Because with wholesaling, you could be creative with your contracts and you could technically not close on it. And there's lots of technicalities and whatever. But in my opinion, because you're not having to raise the capital, I think it's less risky. That's my opinion.
I would agree. You're working with, again, it depends on where you're placing that risk, because to us, our integrity and our word of mouth, if we say it's going to happen is everything. There are some wholesalers that won't take it to that level. And then to me, that's being risky, because if you're just going in, putting it under contract because you just think you can do something with it, that's not good.
Yeah, if you are going to be putting a property under contract to wholesale it, make sure you can close on it.
Yeah.
Because that's an easy way to ruin your reputation. And it also makes real estate investors like our lives harder.
Yep.
Because then we have to go in and do repair and be like, I get that somebody might have said something and didn't close on it. That's not us, right?
Yep.
We have a 100% track record for closing anything we've ever put under contract. Again, we've got millions of dollars worth of properties under our control. We have, this never ending list of investors. Thankfully, we're blessed with that, right? So it's just being able to position who you are and what you do, and just knowing your capacities.
Exactly. Approximately what percentage of E.P.I.C properties do you acquire through wholesalers? I was just thinking about that. I would say it's probably 20% with the ones that we work with, because they're really good at what they do.
Well, and that number is specifically because of Drew.
Yeah.
And we do have some active people in Saskatoon here we work with. And it's funny because we met them back in the day when we were first starting out about real estate investing, because we called them because they had a house for sale and it was a private owner. And we just said, hey, nothing.
No, it's somebody picking somebody up.
Okay.
Hood call. Honk! Honk! I'm here! Honk!
Sorry, I was just making sure our vehicles weren't going to get flattered or something.
No.
So at the end of the day, it comes down to just making sure I lost my
We were
sorry.
Saskatoon.
Yeah, thank you. So we had called because, again, what do we learn in our training? If it's a for sale by owner and it's property you're interested in, call them and ask them if they would hold any of the financing or if they would do creative deals, blah, 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 blah. So we ended up doing that. And, he said, oh, no, not for this house, but I actually have another house I would entertain that on. And then actually we put it on as a rent to own under Alisa's name. And that was actually where her and Wyatt lived for like how many years?
Oh, 4, 3 at least.
Yeah, we still have it, but it was just super interesting. Had we not picked up the phone, made that call, we would have never made that connection. And now we do like probably 5 deals a month, I'd say.
At least, yeah.
And, and it's also changed, the relationship has grown, because before they would just buy the property and either flip it to us, or they would just buy the property, renovate it and sell it to us. But now, because they've started doing so much volume, hiring so many more people, they will actually find a property, we'll buy it, and then we actually just general contract the renovations to them. So it's morphed into so much more. Yeah. And had we not made that original phone call, who knows how long it would have taken us to connect, or if we would have ever connected. So if you're feeling hesitant about, oh, well, they might say no, you know what? Who cares, right? I can't wait. I always tell people this. I'm like, I love hearing no, because that means I'm getting closer to a really big yes. Yeah. Right? So just, again, stop with the limiting beliefs and just go out and do. And, you'll find your people eventually.
I know. It just kills me how many people want to just make things harder than they need to be. It really does just come down to the do, right? You can think about it. You can prep for it. You can study it, all the things. It just comes down to, are you actually going to do the do? Meaning, are you going to put the action behind it? If you're not, and you're someone who gives up easy, don't become a wholesaler. It's not for you. It's really that easy.
Totally.
All right.
Okay. And then,
is a wholesaler someone you would keep on staff? We'll circle back to that in 5 minutes. Do you work with more than one wholesaler? Yes, we mentioned that in the beginning. Wholesalers to us are in the category like realtors. We do not limit ourselves to one person. We will work with anyone that will bring us a product that works for our portfolio. That's that. It doesn't matter. Like we said, we work with like people privately selling their houses. We work with 10 realtors is our main. And there's probably one or two that aren't on that list that we've done one-offs with or whatever.
And we're always looking for more.
100%.
Yeah.
And then we have, I think at least 4 wholesalers, 3-4 wholesalers we're working with. So again, if someone gets to learn our systems and then we'll turn around and work with us in our kind of parameters, we're good. Yeah. That's all you got to do.
And sometimes people will call us with leads. Oh, I have a house in Waka. Oh, I've got a house in Meadow Lake. Oh, we stay in our lane
right now.
Right? So we only buy right now in Saskatoon and in the Battlefords. So if somebody's like, I have this, I'm like, nope, not interested.
Not right now.
And, the odd time I might be able to say, hey, I can't do anything for you, but maybe talk to this person. And I don't even care. Like, I'm not looking for a referral. I'm not looking for getting paid. I just like to be able to answer people's questions and be able to provide value. So if it's like, hey, you know what, I'm not interested, but maybe try calling this person. I know they work in that network. If it turns into something, good for them. If not, no big deal. I'm not going to lose any sleep at night.
So it's true.
Yeah.
Jen, you might as well come in and
we have another chair.
We may have to steal somebody's chair. Well, you want to put her in the middle?
Yep.
Okay. No, that's okay.
Oh, your boots, girl. You didn't take your boots off.
It's
Everyone
okay.
else.
I can take
off
off my socks.
I should have.
Wet.
Sorry.
Like,
It's all good.
I just came running in, so I thought it was a. So just put them there.
No, it's fine. It's good.
Okay, I'm rolling.
I'm good.
All right. So this is Jen. So this is Alisa's assistant. And yeah, do you want to talk about your story? Like, how did you even start wholesaling properties?
Well, basically the idea pretty much came from Alisa. She's like, Jen, you work with everything all the time, all the spreadsheets, all the houses. When Alisa was in Costa Rica last year, I think I was only with the company about a month, and you were over in Florida, and so I was doing walkthroughs with properties. So just understanding kind of how the business works and what they're really looking for. That was the main thing. And then I was sitting on my couch the one night, it was back in July, and Alisa's like, oh yeah, well, I can, give you any kind of ideas, or, just if you have questions, just come to me. And I was searching Facebook. We're all on Facebook. It was Facebook Marketplace. Someone had listed that they had this property, and she was actually a landlord that just wanted to get out. And it was currently rented, so it was fantastic. That's what E.P.I.C likes. They need those rental cash flowing properties. And then I negotiated for probably about 3 weeks. And then I said to Alisa, I said, what would you pay for this? And of course, I'm one of those people where I always have to make sure my ducks are in a row. So I made sure to get an appraisal on it first. I was like, okay, I got to see what it'll come in at. So, money out of your own pocket, but at the end of the day, if it works, it's beneficial. So I made sure I had my appraisal and brought it to Alisa. I said, hey, are you interested? And the biggest thing is it doesn't hurt to ask, because the least they can do is say no. And I've had a couple no's, which is okay. And that first property closed August 12th, and it actually allowed me to become debt free. Originally, Alisa said, I'll give you this amount and, we'll buy it. And I said, well, do you think maybe I needed $10,000 to basically get out of debt? I'm a single mom, so that definitely helped. I said, I was kind of hoping for this. And Alisa, I know Alisa wasn't in the office one day, and she had said to Rochelle, hey, can you, do you think it'll work? And then Rochelle's like, she came over asking about a different property or something, and she's like, oh yeah, and it'll work. I said, what'll work? And so she's like, yeah, you wanted 10,000. She's like, yeah, it's fine. So it definitely was motivation to keep going. And I'm now debt free. So it's a pretty fantastic feeling. And I actually just closed my other house yesterday.
Yeah,
so
she's on the second one.
Second one, yeah.
Right.
So, and I have had the no's. Like, there's been a couple, and Alisa's like, nope, it's just not going to work. Yeah. I looked on Sask Houses, Facebook Marketplace. I'm always doing it in the evening, so it's not affecting my job. But I have everything, all the tools there. The city assessments. I have, the spreadsheets. I can pull my own comps. And if I need to, I just say to Rochelle and Alisa, oh, what about this? So And Rochelle's been good too. She, helps me out and says, well, try this or try that. And if you want it bad enough, it works. So
That's right. You got to put the legwork and the time into it.
The legwork and the time. And Drew too, he actually, we thought about trying to check out one together, but we knew it wouldn't work in the end. So, sometimes you pay for those appraisals and it doesn't work.
But it becomes a write-off.
It does.
On your taxes.
It does, yeah. And so, but yeah, so Drew mentored me. Any questions I had, I was like mad texting him at I think 10 o'clock at night for my first deal. And so, this other property, it's a lot of negotiations. I wanted so much, I knew I wanted so much, but at the end of the day, it wasn't going to work. So, hey, 3,000 is better than zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, like in that first deal, when originally I think we were supposed to be 5 or something like that. And then
it was 8. Yeah.
8, yeah. And then Alisa had said, is there any way we could pay 10? We went back to the numbers. The numbers don't lie. We knew what our lift was. It was good. So we were like, yeah,
absolutely.
10 works, right? And it's the same thing with the second where she wanted 5. It didn't work. It was 3. Mm-hmm. But again, like Jen said, better than 0.
Yeah. Right. And so how many hours would you say you traded to make that $13,000 profit? Just rough.
I'd say 20 maybe. I look here and there and, I know what you guys are looking for.
Yeah.
So ultimately I'm really now searching exactly for that. But yeah, I'd say about 20 hard hours. And a lot of it was just negotiating by text. I'm sitting on my couch. We literally were talking about it and sitting on my couch and on my laptop, checking stuff from home.
So I would say that's a pretty good ROI,
oh,
right?
definitely.
20 hours of your life to make that kind of money, right?
The other thing that's a little bit different about Jen's situation that's super unique is you're working in the industry, right?
Yeah.
So of course that's going to shave off hours. But at the end of the day, guys, think about it. If you did this for 10 hours every week in the evening, how many months do you think of that kind of hustle it would take you to find 2-3 deals where you're making $3,000 a month? So yeah, $3,000 a month or whatever. Yeah. And so that basically after 3 months, you've made $10,000 for 10 hours per week. Like just run the numbers. Like just it's so crazy how many people are like, oh, it sounds like too much work.
So to answer the question, as a wholesaler, someone you would keep on staff, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Jenn was staff or team member first, and then she realized there was an opportunity for herself to be lifted. And we are all about team members taking and making themselves better by educating or
taking initiative
and those kinds of things. And that's awesome. Like you're just an example of that. So
it's definitely beneficial. So thank you for all of your guys' hard work. And at the end of the day,
you're working on another one.
I am. So. Yep. I'm already working on the next one. And that's the thing is that once you get that one, it drives you to work harder and harder and harder. And yeah, sometimes you're going to put in, 3 hours that night and you're going to walk away with nothing, but hey, at least you tried. Because if you don't try, how do you know?
And you learn by doing.
You do.
You get better every time. And the opposite is true for Drew. He actually, so he's a payroll employee, plus he's a full-time wholesaler, right? And so for that one, it really wouldn't have worked having one over the other. Yeah. Because with him just wholesaling his properties, we didn't have anybody down there to run the systems, right? And so for us, it's like, whatever makes the most sense. Well, Jenn was already on staff, on payroll, and so it made sense for her to say, hey, I want to start looking for properties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Again, it goes back to the negotiations, creating the win-win, and putting it all together. And it is that simple. Again, like Rochelle said, but Drew, it was a creative one. He was originally actually a full-time teacher, and he actually quit that job and is now wholesaling full-time and working for us. And that, again, us moving into the Battlefords, we needed somebody like him, and he was looking to transition out of what he was doing. So again, it was just putting those pieces together, and him and I went over contracts and, boundaries, and every once in a while there'll be something that comes up and I'm like, nope, boundary here or whatever, right? And same on his side. And, and that's just as long as everything stays on the up and up and everybody's communicating. We've been at it for almost a year. Like it'll be a year here in February-ish. So, I mean, that's awesome. And I'm super excited that, we're going to take and make him at some point between what he'll make from us and then him reinvesting in real estate, he'll be a multimillionaire before you know it. And that's awesome. And Jenn, I'm probably eventually going to have to find a new assistant because she'll probably eventually work her way out of, I don't know, hard to say.
Never know. The sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Definitely working with E.P.I.C and seeing the drive, it's sky's the limit. You never know.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Cool. All right. So if you had one suggestion you'd give to anybody that's really looking to do this, what would it be?
believe in yourself.
Nice.
Yeah,
there you go.
Because I was like, no, there's no way I can do this. There's no way I can make $10,000. I dreamt about it. I'm almost 40 in March. So I dreamt about it. I was like, nope, I'm going to make 10 grand one day. And I was like, there's no way. What skills do I have? And just kind of fell into my lap and believe in yourself.
So the other thing with that too is, again, you can tell by Jenn's language, she vibes at the same frequencies we do, right? So she believes in the universe, she believes in manifesting, she believes in gratitude and putting all those steps together. So she doesn't wake up every day and say, oh, FML, blah, 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 everything's going to be shitty. It's Friday the 13th. I can't cross the street. Maybe I can't go to work, right? Like all these things.
Yes.
Like,
that's right. Like that's not our culture. Oh yeah, whatever. Who cares? Like it's just another day.
And doing it all day long.
Yeah, 13, right. But that's where sometimes it's changing your environment. It's changing who you surround yourself with, where you're working, whatever, you do in the evenings, how you spend your free time. We go back to that all the time. Your mindset is everything, but it really depends on who you're surrounding yourself with. So watch your words, watch your language, and believe in yourself. That's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
What are we doing for time here? We got 10 minutes left.
Okay. I don't know why we picked this property. Do you want
So
to talk about that
I can talk about that. The
Okay.
reason we picked the property we're in is because this is one of the houses that was wholesaled to us by the person that we work with in town here. So that you were talking about how he'll find the property, he brings me through, and then he goes, well, renovated, what will you buy this? What will you pay for this? And I'm like, here's my number. And so that's exactly why we picked this house. I thought we could do a quick tour to show the work he did. I don't have the before pictures, but I can tell you it was nothing to what it is now.
And
like
don't we own the house
nothing.
next door?
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it literally is completely redone.
Awesome.
So this person I work with, I guess I don't want to say his name until we talk to him, but it's okay. Okay, so for those that don't know, his name is Hussein. For those who have been around us, you've met Hussein. He's a crazy little Bangladeshi, or I don't know what they're called, to be honest with you, and I'm not trying to be an a-hole. I just don't honestly know. So yeah, I'm going to go out to the window here, see if I can show you first the snow. Remember Rochelle was saying she's stuck? Yeah, she's stuck. So anyways, just a cute little house. It was a 2-bed, 1-bath, and he converted it to a 4 and 2. So again, like you can see, very simplistic but great work in that. We go with a gray theme for anything we're renovating, newer. So it's got all new windows, flooring, baseboards. Everything's been cleaned up. And so therefore for us, the maintenance will be very low for a very long time on this property. And then you can see here, we added the bathroom up here. Ironically, the bathroom was in the basement. So then we turn around and him and I walked through and created the floor plan. So again, simple, nothing crazy, but it, does the trick. He picks the finishings and all the things. I just say, make it nice. Give me a good floor plan. So new kitchen, everything. And we ended up, I think we bought this one off him. I want to say it was either 175 or 180, and it appraised at 205. So, and this is, completely done. Do I care what he made? Absolutely not. All I care about is that there was room for us to make money, and we have a finished product that will work amazingly well. So I'm going to try and hold this and not make you sick while I go down the stairs. So like I said, this had an unfinished basement. There was a bathroom down here, but if you could call it a bathroom. So yeah, and then, so furnace is in good shape. You can see, he knows what we look for in a property. So here's the other bathroom. So again, nothing fancy, but it'll do the trick. It's what we need to be rentable. This is just, I think this is laundry back here, or just a storage room. Yeah, laundry. Woohoo, I'm peeking around the corner. That's okay. Oh, he turned it. Thanks, Michael. And then, yeah, so you can just see it's got laundry capability. And then just over here are the other bedrooms. So there you go. Good size rooms, really simple, but they okay.
You can even announce next week's Epic Hour.
There you go.
So you just have to read this before. You just have to read it.
Yeah.
So they're going to put the camera on you. All the cameras on you.
There you go. Yeah. There's only millions of people watching you.
Well, and literally, I found out last night, I said to Alisa, I said, oh, I'm so excited to listen to it at work. She's like, actually, you're coming. I was like,
yeah. Oh, because she said that, I went, oh yeah, she should just come.
yeah, because I usually listen to it while I'm working. So
yeah.
I was like, okay,
yeah.
I better wear my
Which is good, because what is she doing? She's educating herself, which is awesome.
Yep. All right, so next week's Epic Hour is Wednesday, November 8th. 18th. Sorry. See, I'm a rookie. At 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Location and topic is
You don't have to say
determined. I don't have to say
Those
the
are
rest.
our notes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But so
Yeah.
make sure you guys mark your calendars next Wednesday, November
Yeah.
18th, 2 p.m. SAS time, and then 2 you can
Yeah.
break the other one. So yeah, hopefully you guys got something out of this. And if you're watching on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay in the comments. And thank you for spending your time with us. And how many minutes do we have left? We have 5 minutes. So I don't know, do we have any last minute comments or
Questions?
anything? Questions?
Any other
So
wholesalers?
I'll say a couple stories just to fill in the time here.
Sure.
So just before we were leaving, Bailey and I were leaving, and I was just in the shop at the warehouse, and I was leaving, but I wanted to talk to some of the contractors, and I was like, hey, I gotta go do this, and I didn't have time for this, and blah, 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 whatever. And then the one plumber turns around and says, where are you going? And the one guy says, they're going to Ontario. And the other guy's like, well, I didn't know. And he's like, don't you watch the Epic Hour? I don't remember. I don't know the people's name. There's so many people.
That's okay.
But anyway, one of the plumbers, I know that. And so at the end of the day, it was the funniest thing ever, though, because all
Comment if you're watching, plumber.
literally all of everybody turned and looked and burst out laughing. It was like the highlight of my day. It was so funny. Don't you watch the Epic Hour? And then the other guy's like, sometimes. It was awesome. Like, that was just so cool. Because again, you know, we do this because, you know, we are hoping we provide some value to people, but at the end of the day, we don't know based on feedback, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, we would love to talk about more relevant topics. So if you guys have any comments or whatnot about topics, please just let us know.
We're open books. Like, we'll be super transparent and tell you straight from the horse's mouth. It again, I like that saying because I like horses. But no, honestly, it doesn't really matter whether you want to ask questions about business or personal growth development, education, real estate investments, or even real estate options of like, what are the different opportunities out there? If you want
to know how to smuggle really cute bunnies in from Montreal, I could talk about that.
I think there's no laws about that. Because you just got busted.
It's not illegal.
No, it's not. How old is he?
7 weeks.
It's a he? Yeah.
Yeah. So Bailey and I were on a road trip, and I manifested my rocker bunny. So anybody who's been following us or on our journey, I've been talking about it nonstop for the last week. We're going into Montreal. We're getting this lion head dwarf bunny, and I'm bringing it back for my sister and her kiddos. So yeah, but we're going to quarantine from the kids for 2 weeks because they're worried about red zone in Montreal. So I was like, okay, I got 2 weeks with the bunny. Whatever. So this is going to be our little mascot for the next 2 weeks. So it should be fun. So you might see him on next week's Epic Hour too.
There you go.
And that's all. Okay.
Well, then I get to bring my ferrets at some point.
You do you, girl.
Can I just bring my Frenchie? We've had this conversation.
Probably not all at the same time.
It would be a show in itself.
Remember, Rochelle, my soul therapy dogs, right?
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we hope you guys all stay epic.